My name is actually Happy, and I am an uplifter. Ever since I was 18, I'm 29 now, all I've done is help people find a better feeling place in their life. And first, I accidentally reached enlightenment because I tried to join you guys. And then in my releasing of all resistance, I encountered the most amazing feelings, and I came back with this sense of well-being. And then
that's a wonderful story, because what you just said is, I realized that when people croak, they reemerge into pure positive energy, and at one point in my life that was the only way I could see of getting any relief. And now you've figured out that you can be in a physical body and have every bit as much relief as you have when you return to Source.
That's absolutely how
what
I
a nice
feel.
story.
It was good. And then I decided from that moment that I was going to show people it's not what you live, it's how you live it. And then I found the Kabbalah 9 years ago, and I loved that because it was a more scientific version of what you say, and I loved it, and I studied it for 10 years. And 3 months ago, New Year's morning, I stumbled across you. And,
Law of attraction is a stumbler enhancer.
And in the last 3 months, I've been able to touch more people with your words than I have in the last, years. And I've seen so many people find alignment so quickly. And people, my ex-husband, for 4 years I was married, and I was trying to help him be more positive. And I finally left him because I just wasn't a vibrational match to him because he was negative. And now he's found his beautiful, positive self, and he's just an incredible person. My mom, everybody I know is just in this happy state right now. But now I love this, and and every day, people are so thankful, and I thank you for that. Now I'm just very curious because I've always wanted to write a book. My first book was I never published it, but I wrote it. It was called How to Be Happy by Happy. And it was basically sayings that would help you find a better feeling. But now I feel like if I want to write a book, it's basically going to be one page, and one sentence, and it's going to say, go read Abraham-Hicks. That's where I feel like, is it okay for me to be relaying your message only, or do I need to find more? I know I'm going to find more, but this is where I'm like, okay, now I want to write a book, but I have nothing to write about, because now all I want to say is just find your alignment, here's the stream, there's, so and I know it's in escrow for me, but I just want, is it okay that I'm just teaching your words now?
Well, no one has ever done that. You'll be the very first. We said to Jerry and Esther on the first day that they began interacting with us that we are teachers of teachers. And you are a teacher of teachers also. In other words, there is no end to this upliftment. You came forth for life to cause you to put things in your vibrational escrow. And if you've put writing of a uplifting book in your vibrational escrow, then you very well have the resources and the right and the means to accomplish that. What we are encouraging, and Jerry and Esther like this very much, when someone finds, and it is so nice, the words that you've offered, when someone finds a basis of understanding that is uplifting to them. And think about what you said. There was a long line of life experiences that you lived before you found this that was all part of your understanding this. So here you are, and through all of it, through the times that were hard, you were putting things in vibrational escrow. In other words, you wrote most of your book while you were in the process of getting ready to try to commit suicide. In other words, those hard times put so much in that vibrational escrow book, you see. So the book was written long before you came back into alignment. And now you're coming back into alignment, you feel this calling toward that. Jerry and Esther adore it when someone finds the basis that is helpful to them and then applies what they are knowing to their own life experience and then writes the details of that further exploration. It isn't satisfying to Jerry and Esther to read a book that is just a replication of what they have written, and yet no book really has ever been an exact replication of what they have lived. Lynn Grabhorn came to them. She wrote Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting 10 years ago or so. And she came to a gathering in Seattle, and she said to Jerry and Esther over lunch the next day, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to use all of your material, and I'm not going to tell anyone where I got it. How do you feel about that? And Esther said, something about it makes me want to hurt you. I don't like the feeling of wanting to hurt you, and yet It's the feeling that is rising up strongly within me. And she went on to explain that she didn't think that much of the world was ready for the authentic Abraham. So she thought that she would revise it and leave that part out. And she wrote a book that made the New York Times bestseller list. And in the front of the book, she put a wee small paragraph that said Hicks family in Texas, so that if anybody really wanted to know and had a lot of money for research, they could find. As uncomfortable as that was, Jerry and Esther have met thousands of people because of that book who, as Lynn said, were not ready for the full-on explanation of all of this. So our encouragement to any of you is teach what you know. And if this has become part of your knowing, teach it. And follow your heart in terms of your personal alignment. In other words, it might be that you could write a book and you could use all of the material and you could not even mention where you heard it. And it might be that you could find alignment in doing that. That's something that you will personally have to decide. The only thing that we want to say to you is all that is necessary is that you have a desire and come into alignment with it. And all of the resources of the universe, including us, will give you everything we've got as support in the creation of what you're wanting. That's just the way that it works.
And since I live about 95% of my life in joy and appreciation and in passion, does that mean that it's inevitable and it's just going to come?
It means that it's already done, and you will have the fun of watching the way it unfolds. All you have to do, you see, as you stay in alignment with your idea and don't allow doubtful thoughts to get in the way, the idea will present itself to you. It has to. This is the thing that we so much want to emphasize. It's already done, and that's so hard for physical friends to hear, because you say, well, if I've asked and it's been given, then where's my stuff? And we say, you have asked and it has been given, and it's just the gentle allowing of your alignment with that which you want. We feel you in alignment with it for the most part. We can feel that you have reason to do it. As you talk about happy, we want to add something to this that could be helpful to you. Because like you, we want everyone to be happy. But we don't want to give anyone the impression that it's wrong for them to be in the revenge mode on their way to happy, or on the anger mode on their way to happy, or in the frustration mode on their way to happy. In other words, we want them to, and there's a tendency as we talk about these positive emotions, so much so that you even call your book that someone who is miles vibrationally from that couldn't even get a foothold in, you see. Mm-hmm. So the world wants to feel good. Everyone you know, everything that everyone wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a material object, a state of being, a relationship, a pile of money, a circumstance or event, every single thing that every single person wants, they want it because they believe in the having of it, they will be happy. So let your book be about being happy before the stuff comes, and then the stuff will come. In other words, that's the key to all of this. If you can find a way to find your happy place, even though what you think you needed to be happy. A woman said to us one day, Abraham, I don't think you care if my lover ever comes to me. I think you just want me to visualize him so completely that I'm satisfied in the visualization of it, and then I don't care that he has not yet come. And we said, yep, that's exactly right. Because feeling good is the reason you want him anyway, so if you feel good, what's the problem? She said, I want him anyway. And we said, when you feel good even before he has come, he must come. But if you feel even a little unhappy that he hasn't come, and the people that you know that are looking for relationships, what do you hear from them? I can't find my person.
I'm lonely.
None of the good ones are left. I've looked and looked for so long, I feel hopeless. You have to be a vibrational match to what you're looking for.
Perfect. I have two more quick questions. One is about blended being. I ask questions. I have a hard time meditating, but I've asked questions before of my inner self, and through like repetitious dancing. I know it sounds funny, but dancing to like repetitious music. After hours and hours and hours and hours of dancing, I've accidentally stumbled across, and what I used to call it, I just talked to God and God answered. And I would just dance and get this information. I would get a lot of information. And then that morning I'd be like, okay, talk to God, I got my answers, here are the answers. And now I just I don't feel like dancing till morning. And meditation to me, I'm even my 15 minutes, I'm just like, okay, it's 15 minutes over yet, 15 minutes over yet. So was there a way to make it a little bit more? Yes, and we're going to give you've asked a very big question, and we want to give you something that we think you're going to find very interesting. It is exhilarating to us to go to this new place. He's talking about coming into vibrational alignment. That's really what blending is. And through meditation, if you quiet your mind, and the best way to do that is to focus upon something that doesn't require much thought. Listen to the dripping of a faucet, or watch a flickering flame, or listen to your breath, or count your breath, or something that requires a little bit of focus but not very much. And as you focus upon something like that has no resistance in it, your vibration raises, and when your vibration raises, you become vibrationally compatible with that broader perspective, and that's what that blending is that you're talking about. But we want you to, the best way to achieve that, we think, is through meditation. However, we'd rather you were in a state of appreciation really than meditation, because appreciation is full-on connection with source energy, and then you have the benefit of being alert and consciously aware of what's going on while you're involved in it. Now consider this. We think you'll like it. We really do. So along this emotional scale, and appreciation and love and that blending is right up there. When you get into that place where you're offering no resistance, then you are a vibrational match to your source. And oh, how euphoric that blending feels, and what insight you have, what power and clarity you have. We see why you would want that. But in light of what you've been hearing us talking about this stream here today, so the stream is always flowing. The stream is taking you toward who you are, so the blending is inevitable, even though you might have to croak in order to achieve it completely. The blending, you get the drift of that. The blending is inevitable. So what's so wrong, and this is the thing that we want to soften your vibration about just a little bit. What's so wrong with being angry on your way to greater connection? And hear this. There is a certain amount of blending even in despair, because you can never separate yourself. Separation is too strong a word. You can never separate yourself from that. So you are always blended to a certain degree. So I'm blended in my despair. I'm blended in my revenge. I'm more blended in my anger. I'm even more blended in my frustration. I'm even more blended in my hopefulness. I'm even more blended in my belief. I'm even more blended in my knowing. I'm blended in my love and appreciation and passion and exhilaration. You see what we're getting at? People so often think that they've got to get in the zone, they've got to clear their mind, they've got to float in the clouds, they've got to detach from all things in order to be blended. And blended means, the epitome of being blended is to be in this physical body in vibrational alignment with source, and source pouring through you. A basketball player who's trained his body and who's in the zone is a blended being. A musician who's tuned in, tapped in, turned on, who's learned his craft and now inspiration is pouring through him, is a blended being, you see. We want to put the word blended into the way that you intended it when you came forth into this body. That dancing is blended. Don't dance to get blended. Dance because you are blended. You see what we're getting at? Yeah, but since I really do live some days, most of my days, even 100% of the day, in love and appreciation. Is that time? In love and appreciation, that's where I live most of my life. Now I want to go to where I'm getting clear more. Well, I want to go to the next level. Is there more level than this?
If you've heard what we've been saying, and we think you've heard it clearly, is that no matter where you're standing, no matter how good it is, there's still contrast that causes a desire for improvement. And so the stream continues to call you. So there is no ending. So someone who is feeling despair will feel relief when they find revenge. But somebody who's feeling appreciation will even find relief in an even more aligned state. In other words, because none of us are finished, there is no end to what we are asking for. And because there is no end, so hear it in the context of everything that we've talked about here today. So as long as you are still exploring and giving birth to new ideas, and as long as the source energy part of you is becoming the vibrational equivalent of those new ideas, there will never be a time that you do not have further to go, because you are eternal. Isn't that nice to know? Esther sat in front of a salad in a restaurant in Eugene, Oregon, and looked at it, and it was orgasmic. The feelings that rippled up and down her body. She said, "What is in this salad?"
Lettuce.